the 15 cubits above the mountains. I think the draft of the ark would be 15 cubits. There's a symmetry going on here. The water needs to be 15 cubits above the highest point in order to make the ark miss snagging itself on something while it's riding out the waves. So again, there's significance in that particular number. There's significance in the way that it's been written. There's significance in the way that that account frames it all. And I think it's just so important to remember that we are talking about huge pressures on the earth. Who's to say how big the mountains were back in the day? As I understand it, it's all about the pressure of plates coming together and pushing up, and it forces the mountain up. How big were these mountains at the time of Noah? Were they as big as they are now, or were they smaller? And with the breakup of all of the globe, the earth, all of these things and all of the pressures have actually forced these things to be even bigger than they were. Was the topography of our world the same as it was in the day of Noah? Quite frankly, I don't believe it was at all. Like, I don't believe it was from the time in the garden was different to the time out of the garden. The time of Noah is different from the time now, because the earth has been forced into a different shape through the pressures that it has been put under as a result of this cataclysmic event. For us to poo-poo all of this and go, oh, how could that possibly be? We need to be so much more humble as we approach these things. We need to recognize that we do not know everything at all. And I'm going to digress slightly. I was listening to a thing on ancient Egyptology, fascinating account of how much we actually know about Egypt. Now, both you and I have been out to Egypt. We've climbed the pyramids. We've done all of that sort of stuff. We've got into trouble in Cairo and all the other naughty things that we did. But we don't talk about that stuff. But there was this lady that I was listening to. She said, we have uncovered less than 1% of the knowledge there is to know about Egypt. Think of how much richness we have brought into our modern understanding by excavating less than 1%. There's 99% plus of knowledge out there based on sites that have been identified that we haven't even got to. So we need to be so much more humble when we look at these sacred accounts and these ancient scriptures and the way that they're written. We need to be far more grown up in the way that we read them, which is why I say don't take everything literally, but take it seriously, as hopefully this channel that we're working on is trying to encourage. Look at it and try and understand what the intent is, and try and understand who is driving this, and try and understand the divine spirit that sits behind all of this, and what is that message and principle that it's trying to convey to us. There's also a good piece that I read, an article on Big Think website, and it's talking about the flood myth origins, and it's talking about all of these various cultures that have this deeply ingrained mytho-history. There is definitely something here that we need to be aware of, whether we explain it in the crater that you've talked about, or whether we explain it in the Black Sea inundation, or whether we explain it in other ways, whether the flood itself was localized, but the devastating destruction of all of that power then released tsunamis around the globe, so it had an effect globally. I could see that as well. Well, if God destroyed the earth, well, we know that the earth can mean the land, the territory. It doesn't always mean the whole globe. But if it does mean the whole globe, well, who's to say it couldn't? You end up with so much water and so much power happening in one central part of the earth that it could have massive effects across the rest of the globe. 70% of our globe is made up of water. So the effects can be amazing. You know, South America has a little wobble with an earthquake and we get tsunamis over here. Think about it, it's not beyond the bounds of possibility.